You're smart. Everyone told you that. But no one warned you it would feel like this. Like you're speaking a language no one else understands. Like every conversation is shallow water when you need to dive deep. Carl Jung discovered something terrifying about intelligent minds. Something that changes everything you think you know about IQ. It's not what you expect. Here's the thing. High IQ doesn't mean you're happy. It doesn't mean you're successful. And it definitely doesn't mean you fit in. Jung called it the burden of consciousness. The more you see, the more you suffer. Think about it. Right now, while everyone around you obsesses over the latest trend, you're 3 steps ahead. You see the pattern. You predict the outcome. You're already bored. But here's where it gets dark. Jung talked about the shadow. That part of you that you hide. That you suppress. For high IQ people, the shadow is massive. Because you've spent your entire life pretending. Dumbing yourself down. Laughing at jokes that aren't funny. Nodding when people say things that make no sense. You built a persona. A mask. Jung said the persona is who you pretend to be. The socially acceptable version. But your shadow. That's where your real intelligence lives. Trapped. Festering. Growing more powerful every time you bite your tongue. Every time you don't correct someone. Every time you simplify your thoughts so others can keep up. Your shadow gets stronger. And here's the cruel irony. The smarter you are, the lonelier you become. Jung called this cognitive isolation. You process information faster. You make connections others miss. You see solutions before problems fully form. But you can't share it. Because the moment you do, you become the weird one. The difficult one. The person who overthinks everything. So you retreat inward. Jung's concept of introversion wasn't about being shy. It was about where you get your energy. High IQ individuals turn inward because the external world disappoints them. Constantly. Small talk feels like torture. Surface-level relationships feel empty. You crave depth in a world obsessed with breadth. But wait. It gets worse. Jung discovered that intelligent people have a unique relationship with the collective unconscious. That shared reservoir of human experience. Myths. Archetypes. Universal patterns. You access it differently. You see the archetypes playing out in real time. The hero. The sage. The trickster. You watch people act out these ancient patterns without realizing it. And you're the observer. Always watching. Never fully participating. Because participation requires you to turn off your analysis. And you can't. Your brain won't let you. This creates what Jung called the transcendent function. The ability to hold opposing ideas simultaneously. You see both sides of every argument. You understand multiple perspectives at once. You contain contradictions. It sounds like a gift. It feels like paralysis. Because while everyone else makes quick decisions based on emotion, you're stuck weighing infinite variables. Analysis paralysis isn't laziness. It's the curse of seeing too much. Here's another thing Jung noticed. High IQ people individuate differently. Individuation. Jung's term for becoming your true self. Separating from collective thinking. Most people never individuate. They absorb their parents' beliefs, society's values, their culture's assumptions. But you questioned everything from the start. You saw through the illusions early, which means you individuated young. Too young. And premature individuation is traumatic. You separated from the tribe before you were ready. Before you built the social skills to navigate that separation. Now you're authentic but alone. Jung would say you're in the middle stage of life's journey. The descent into the unconscious. The dark night of the soul. Where you confront everything you've repressed. Everything you've hidden. Everything your intelligence allowed you to rationalize away. Your emotions. Your needs. Your desire for simple connection. High IQ people are masters at intellectualizing feelings. You analyze your sadness instead of feeling it. You theorize about loneliness instead of addressing it. Jung called this the inferior function, the least developed part of your psyche. For thinking types, it's feeling. For intuitive types, it's sensing. Your intelligence dominates everything. It's your superior function. Overdeveloped. Compensating. But your emotional life? Underdeveloped. Childlike. Vulnerable. This creates an internal war. Your brilliant mind versus your stunted emotions. And the mind always wins. Until it doesn't. Until you hit a crisis. A breakdown. A moment where thinking your way out stops working. Jung called this enantiodromia. When things transform into their opposite. Your greatest strength becomes your greatest weakness. Your intelligence, which protected you, now imprisons you. In your own head. In endless loops of analysis. You can't think your way to happiness. But you keep trying. Here's what Jung understood that modern psychology misses. Intelligence and wisdom are not the same thing. You can have a genius-level IQ and the emotional maturity of a teenager. Because IQ measures processing speed, pattern recognition, abstract reasoning. It doesn't measure integration, balance, wholeness. Jung's goal wasn't to make you smarter. It was to make you whole. To integrate your shadow. To balance your functions. To unite the opposites within you. The thinking and the feeling. The conscious and the unconscious. The persona and the authentic self. But integration requires what your intelligence resists most. Surrender. Letting go of control. Trusting the process. Allowing the unconscious to speak. Through dreams. Through symbols. Through the body you've ignored while living in your head. High IQ people struggle with this more than anyone. Because surrender feels like stupidity. And you've spent your whole life proving you're not stupid. But here's the paradox Jung discovered. True intelligence includes the irrational, the intuitive, the mysterious, the things that can't be measured or explained. Your logical mind is only half the equation. The unconscious holds the other half. And until you integrate both, you'll remain fragmented, brilliant but broken. So what do you do with this? First, stop weaponizing your intelligence. Stop using it to distance yourself from others. From yourself. Your IQ isn't your identity. It's a tool, not a fortress. Second, do the shadow work. Journal. Meditate. Notice when you're intellectualizing instead of feeling. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding by thinking about this instead of experiencing it? Third, find your people. They exist. Other intelligent souls who crave depth, who speak your language. You're not as alone as you think. You've just been looking in the wrong places. Fourth, embrace the inferior function. If you're all thinking, practice feeling. If you're all intuition, practice sensing. Balance doesn't come naturally to you. You have to choose it, daily. And finally, understand this. Jung believed that suffering could be transformed into meaning. Your loneliness, your isolation, your existential confusion. It's not a bug. It's the beginning of something deeper. The hero's journey. The path of individuation. The quest for wholeness. Your high IQ gave you a head start on this journey, but it also made it harder. Because you see the destination but can't think your way there. You have to feel your way. Intuit your way. Surrender your way. This is the path Jung walked. The path he mapped for others like you. Not to become less intelligent, but to become more human. So here's my question for you. The one that will stay with you long after this ends. If your intelligence is the mask you wear, what's underneath? What's hiding in your shadow, waiting to be acknowledged? And are you brave enough to look? Because that's where your real journey begins. Not in your IQ score, but in the darkness you've been too smart to explore. Jung would tell you, the treasure you seek is buried in the cave you fear to enter. Your intelligence built the cave. Now it's time to go in. Drop a comment below. Tell me what you discovered about yourself while watching this. What resonated? What made you uncomfortable? And if you're ready to go deeper, to understand the shadow work Jung prescribed, to learn how to integrate instead of just analyze, hit that subscribe button. Because we are just getting started. This is only the surface. The real work, that happens in the depths. And I know you're ready. Because you wouldn't have watched this far if you weren't. See you in the next one.